I'm going to do myself a top-up tune. The Australian summer is what happened, and this car is normally garaged during hot periods, so this orange thing is not meant to be wavy, it's not meant to be bending out there, and it's not meant to be covering that tweeter, but at ear level that's still 90% of that tweeter getting through, so I'm not too worried. I might find myself adjusting the group levels, so tweeter, high, mid, 6-inch, 8-inch, all relative to the 12-inch. Mainly I'll just be doing +1 or +2, -1, -2 of the tweeter. Without doing a full video on how to tune, or how I tune, a way to tune, or a philosophy of tuning, I'll just say that each group, i.e. the tweeters, the left and right tweeter together, get a correction to match a fundamental design ideal band pass, or in this case just a high pass. And just out of curiosity, I do actually have a low pass on these tweeters system wide, so it could actually come down here in this demonstration. I digress a little bit. So both tweeters were measured and summed at Nearfield, because I believe in the Nearfield and setting the levels relative all at Nearfield to an ideal fully summed crossover network, ideal. And then if you were to measure at the listening position, you would end up with a target, or what the car did to the sound. But that in my system gets ignored. You should always just tune your system, and you should be able to experience your system from the listening position, and it should sound natural. So in my case, everything centers and everything's really, really deep, because I haven't messed with the phase through EQ from the left to the right tweeter. And anything that a omnidirectional test microphone picks up in the main listening position is all just academic, of interest, and not actionable, because they're omni, and we as humans are directional with our hearing. So here you can see there's a lot of energy put into those tweeters, and that's kind of the reason why I use a low pass, and we'll get to that, or you can look back at my last video about that. So extra 6 dB going into those guys. What's on this side? Yeah, so that floor is about 3 dB, and that's about 6 dB. So you're really only putting like 3 or 4 dB extra into that last octave or two. So yeah, trying to keep things simple. So mono, and on occasions I will go ahead and do a left-right, just in case, like as you saw that the cubbies were geometrically different in their construction, and I will go ahead and then do a re-measure of the near field for left and right and add the differences in. So this particular tune does have a left-right difference tune. So if you ignore this bit in the that little band blend to the other one, so we'll just start from here in the tweeters. You can see maybe from the summed, this tweeter gets a little bit more help in that 5 to 6 than this tweeter did. So not much difference just in this lower extension of that tweeter. See, that one just processes left, and this one just processes right. Is I'll have my presets for the tweeter, and that, because I don't do a full system-wide EQ after that, I just EQ the speakers. So it's not marked here, but it's just this 1, 2, 3 presets, 1, 2, 3. So that one there, I can see my tweeters were tuned on the 28th of October, and here's one for the 28th, and here's one for the 19th. So I can quickly switch between variations of tuning techniques, if you felt like it when you're driving. But I normally just do it quickly on the day of tuning and say yes, everything went well for that. And so I'll just go over the 19th. I'll start on this one, and I'll zero them out, those EQs. Alright, let's reset. And we'll start again for today's tuning. So this little plug-in here, that's detecting when I'm talking. This is my spectrum analyzer, which is basically where I do everything. You can call it your REW or your smart, but I just use this plug-in because it's already in this computer, it's already running. And I'll turn on a group. Here are the 8s. This is not a very loud level at the moment. This microphone is right on the 8. And then I'll be moving the mic around in that area too. So I'll press analyze and stop talking, and then I'll move the mic. And press stop. And then if I turn off the analyzer, you can see there's my 8-inch. So I'm just going to see how my tune went for the levels, because I said I was setting them by ear, and see how far off we were from being roughly in the same ballpark using this tuning philosophy. So now I've turned on the 6, turn on the analyzer, and we'll measure the 6 once I stop talking. And I've just erased the 8 because I used the wrong slot. So let's try the other slot. For the 8. Alright, so here we have 2 of the speakers. And as you can see, the 8's got a little bit more pep in their step, and that's what, a couple of dB for that little lump, so no big deal. I do have one working theory, because the 8's are further away in the actual stack, because if this is my arm here, my arm would be closer to the 6-inch. And now this is like on a angle, and there's a circle, and the 8's are a little bit further away. So this tuning technique, you still have to use your ear and a little bit of thinking that's involved. And as you'll see, maybe we'll get lucky, and the high mid and the tweeter will be in that ballpark as well. Now this program would be perfect if it had more than 2 memory slots, but it is what it is. So I turn on 2 speakers and measure them at once with the red slot, and then turn on the other 3 speakers and measure them with the green slot. So that's the entire spectrum covered, and as you can see, fairly consistent, but pretty much in the ballpark to how this system is meant to work. You're meant to perfect your audio system, and the target will be what it will be. So the target is more a result in this system. And now I'll just go ahead and try today's retune. By the way, this is just the right hand side, and that's the 12-inch there, which basically I'm not, the cones aren't visible to me, they're actually behind the seat, so there might be a bit more energy coming from different places, so that average looks a bit lower. Yeah, so let's go on to the retune. So here's the tweeter group done for the retune today. Right, so the reason I do 3 is minimum phase on the average Nearfield measurements, so that I'm maintaining phase purity of the speaker wave to my ears, regardless of what an Omni mic or a phase trace would tell you. And here is, I do the differences because of build incompatibilities of my asymmetrical building techniques, and I use linear phase. So I disabled minimum. This is a linear phase plugin. And then, as you can see, this tweeter here needed that to come down to get back to the average, and then to more correct from the average, and this required hardly anything to get back to correct from the average. So as you can see, there's a fair bit of build inconsistency with the tweeters, and that's where the heart of my tuning technique lies, is you're tuning your speakers and you're not tuning for main listening position. And as I sit here, I've got this in mono, and as you can see, it's about here, because I've got the gains set quite equally. If I move my head like this, maybe it moves a little bit like this because of the different phasing. And I'll just go to the timing page, just for the hell of it. And I can make it go righter or lefter, not the correct terms. But not all frequencies will be going right and left the same. And you'll end up with something that might sound like this, but it'll be split this way from, say, 10Ks down to 3Ks like this. And what you're looking for is the timing, where even though it might be in the wrong spot, where your 10Ks and your 3Ks are all in a straight line, it might be here, right? And then you would change the balance here of this tuning group to move it to the center. And once you've done that, you've had the perfect driving listening position, energy balance, and phase. You'll get the phase right for those two speakers. So I'll do it now, get my balance. So this new tuning for today will be balanced left a bit, left 4, maybe go 5, change the time here. And I can always do the timing later, which I normally do. So I'll drag it, and here it dragged right a bit, but it also pulled apart, like we're talking about, in a little triangle shape. And I'll drag it back to the new center, which I call the, not quite the middle of the screen, but on the right hand side of the screen. And then I'll go left a bit on purpose, like that, and it's now going like this. So I want to bring it back here. So it's a bit of pre-gain leveling in my tune for the groups. So when I do that, I can now swap to, I'll get my tweeter page. So this is today, so I haven't renamed it yet. And it's a bit softer than the 28th, so I'm going to have to add gain to match that. But they're both above this screen because they've both been pre-tuned. So now I'm going to match the gains to my old tune to my new tune. And let's chuck it up and compare. And I can tell the other tune is just a little bit that way, a bit more. I'll have a look at the timing of the old tune. The old tune can still float around a bit. Yeah, so I'll get the timings the same. But it's all relative to the tune. So when all the timing's right, they should center properly. Yeah, so there you go. And I can actually now just listen to the whole thing again once I retime those tweeters to the other speakers, and then just see what my tweeter tune sounded like for this day before I even bother doing the rest of the speakers. Yeah, so I can choose one of 3 tuning days on any group. I could, have 10 presets, so I've just got 3. Just enough screen real estate to let me do that. Now that I've balanced and retuned everything, I've got new tweeters, old tweeters, new tweeters, old tweeters. And I couldn't really drag this old tweeter tune to the middle with time or gain. So it must mean that this slumping of this cavity has really affected the top end on that right hand side. So now I've got a compensated tweeter tune back there. So we'll continue, or we might leave it there. So that was retuning of the tweeters so far.